Now say this out loud as you're driving around in your car.
Join Sports Skillet.
Just what it feels like.
So how do you like it?
So what is it? I'm curious.
You like it like this?
My God, do we love football.
Or like this?
I love the sport of baseball.
And what about this?
You can have a sports show without all the vicious talk.
Simple human decency.
Whatever it is that you like.
Yeah, I like chaos.
We've got it covered.
Right?
It's sports the way you like it.
My friends, you may not know this. It's got everything you want.
Local and national sports talk that's fresh, in season, and FDA approved. If it's hot, you'll find it cooking with Jeff, Jay, and Kelly. They don't just stir the pot, they add more flavor than the other guys. Get ready to dig in and taste some Sports Skillet.
Tastes good.
Right now.
And welcome to another edition of the Sports Skillet live stream, emanating here from the CSB studios in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Thank you for joining us. We got a hot show lined up for you. We are going to have Ken Moskowitz as our guest, as always, part of the Sports Skillet radio show. He's going to be chiming in with all the opinions about what's going on with the Phillies, Eagles versus Jets this week, some NFL games as well. So lots to dissect, lots to talk about. We got a little war of words going on with Carlos Santana and, of course, Jake Arrieta. We have the Monday Night Wars that are going on that have started. SmackDown Live is starting on Fox tonight. We're going to go into that. I'm going to discuss some of the firings that went on with Sports Illustrated. Big purge went on there this week. Seahawks got a interesting win last night against the Rams. That would be Thursday night. The Redskins have not named their starting quarterback as of yet. Will it be Dwayne Haskins or not? Patriots are signing kickers. How will that affect the Patriots going forward? Lots to dive in, lots to discuss. And again, we want to hear your opinions as well here on our YouTube channel. So again, we'll be monitoring them. And you can always chime in on our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook as well, Twitter as well. So we want to hear your opinion. What's going on with the Mets? They fired their manager. We're going to have Mike calling in. Hopefully we'll have him on in a little bit as well. So again, we want to hear your opinions as well. Chime in on our social media channels. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our Friday live stream. Go to our social media channels. Sign up for our Pick'em League. Lots going on. And, of course, always join us Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. on Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey, or by going to our website, sportsskilletradio.com, and clicking on Listen Live, or even better yet, download the app. That way you don't miss our show. You can take the app wherever you are, listen to us in the car. If you can't get the radio station, you can always download the app at sportsskilletradio.com. And that way you won't miss any of our show on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. We always have great guests on and great conversations as well. So right now, without further ado, we're going to bring into the conversation, as always, Crossing Guard Ken, Skywarn Spotter Ken, Moskowitz. Ken, how are you doing today?
How we doing, guys?
We're doing okay. Lots to dive in, lots to go over. First of all, can you let everybody know how they can find you on social media?
Absolutely. Facebook, Crossing Guard Ken Moskowitz, in parentheses, Crossing Guard Ken. And on Twitter and Instagram, Skywarn Spotter Ken. Awesome.
Now, Ken, I'd love to start off with the Philadelphia Eagles. They're coming off a win about 10 days ago now. But got to start off with the Philadelphia Phillies. Haven't said a word about Gabe Kapler's status, but things are starting to kind of come into perspective, come into view a little bit. They've re-signed, or they are going to retain 4 out of the 9 assistant coaches on Gabe Kapler's staff. That came out today. One that will not be retained is their pitching coach, Chris Young, CY. He's out the door. So my question to you is, do you think this is a signal that maybe they may be bringing back Kapler, or do you think that Kapler's status is still up in the air?
I'll tell you, I think Kapler's status is up in the air as to date yet, I believe. And I think what will happen. Now, here's the thing. First off, let's backtrack a little bit to last week. Obviously, my prediction had backfired big time. But I do think here's the thing. I think what has happened from Wednesday going forward. Okay, this past Wednesday going forward. That Middleton has been, pondering, looking over what's the status of and the future of this ball club moving forward. I do think my heart of hearts, I think he has been issuing pink slips, I believe. Because, look, mediocrity isn't going to get you anywhere in life. It just will not. And, for those that are interested in baseball, seeing what analytics is all about in the last 5 years roughly, okay, overall, 2 of which, obviously 2 years in a row, for certain had been with the Philadelphia Phillies. If you still think that this, sport, if you will, has the reputation for mediocrity, then it's the right place for you. Because I'll tell you what, I don't think, and I know you, Jay, for a fact, don't think as well, that mediocrity would sit very well with old schoolers. Just to name a few. I do think he was issuing pink slips this week. The question is who? Obviously the first shoe fell, mind you, a little too, a couple days too late, but finally it first fell with Chris Young. Now, the question is, will Gabe Kapler be retained? Me personally, I don't think so, because because I know I had read as well, whether it's by phone or by visit, I don't know, but I did read about Middleton meeting with Dave Dombrowski in rather recent days. Now, my thought process is this. I have a strong feeling that Dave Dombrowski, we might very well see him, I think, as what could be possibly, and mind you, I love Dave Dombrowski to death. I think he's been phenomenal in all these years, from the Florida Marlins to what he did with the Tigers. I do think, and something is telling me, and I will go on record in saying that I think he will most likely become our new president / general manager.
Dombrowski, you're saying?
With that said, all right, I also did read a few different statements, one of which were from the Philadelphia Inquirer in regards to Matt Klentak being retained. The words had it to the point where his status wasn't in question. I believe that's what the statement was. Not exactly in those words, but I believe it was roughly that statement. For as much as I like the Inquirer, Matt Breen, and I right now I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Because look, at the end of the day, we know that if Klentak is retained, then it's most likely that off the good graces that Kapler may very well come back as well. Now, but look, 81-81 in this era of baseball is not acceptable baseball. It just is not.
No, not when you have the talent the Phillies have, when you spent the money the Phillies have, finishing behind the Mets at 500 or less, when you spent the amount of money, when you brought in JT Realmuto, when you spent the money on Bryce Harper, when you went out and signed Gene Segura, when you have all this talent that the Phillies had brought in, no, this is not acceptable. And when you have a manager like Gabe Kapler, who 2 years ago cratered in August, stunk from August and September on, were an absolute garbage mess, who absolutely had the stench of the Gowanus Canal on them, who you thought had washed it off in the offseason when they went out and got Bryce Harper and Gene Segura and JT Realmuto, and you thought that they had gone in and bathed in tomato juice and showered every hour and washed that stench of the Gowanus Canal off of them. And then you find out that not only did they not wash it off, but they jumped in and bathed in it and used it as deodorant so that they got even worse this year and cratered in June. They didn't even make it to August. They cratered in June, and Gabe Kapler couldn't bring them out of it. Give me a break.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. Now, the only way that I believe that Klentak may very well be back is only for the simple fact that, yes, he tried prior to us cratering by getting, Jay Bruce, and yes, bringing in JT Realmuto as well. Okay. But I mean, that would only be, in my opinion, just the good graces of bringing Klentak back. Otherwise, really, honestly, mind you, I don't think he did that much of a favor for us fans by really not finding a at least another, if not a starter, relief help. To me, it's just not acceptable. Period.
Well,
it's not acceptable. Period.
And here's
go ahead.
And here's the thing that kind of bothers me is right now, during this time period, you have the ability to talk to, if you were to dismiss Gabe Kapler as manager, right? You have the ability to talk to some pretty good managerial candidates that are on the market right now, right? I mean, Joe Madden, you could talk to. We know a lot of the guys that are out there. Joe Girardi, right, and Madden and Mike Scioscia and some of the other guys, and for a fact that these guys are going to get eaten up. They are going to sign contracts. Girardi's going to sign a contract with somebody this offseason, it looks like. Madden's going to sign with somebody. Mike Scioscia may sign with somebody this year. There are going to be some good managers that are going to sign with other teams. You have the New York Mets in your division that dismissed their manager, Mickey Callaway, yesterday. So they have the ability. Joe Madden could be managing against the Phillies next year. Girardi could be managing against the Phillies next year. And we may be stuck once again with Gabe Kapler. And if we're going by history, he's not going to make it to June next year. He's going to be cratering in May, because he craters earlier and earlier every year. So we're going to have 1 month, we're going to have April, and then from May on, the Phillies are going to be a dumpster fire and bathing in the stench and the sewage that is the Gowanus Canal, and everybody's going to be outraged. And even more so, I think, next year when they see that, we could have had Girardi, Well, I don't think so, but we could have spoken to Girardi. We could have spoken to Madden. We could have spoken to Socha. We could have spoken to some of these guys. We could have made them an offer, but no, Middleton wanted to stay with Gabe Kapler or whatever and listen to Clintack and give this group another chance. And that's what I think is going to be even more outrage at Middleton. Middleton could really screw this thing up for the Phillies.
Well, that on that side of it, yes, there's no doubt. And I'll tell you again, you know what? For the fans, and especially for the fan base of today, okay, I'm not talking old schoolers because I know the old school. Again, I know the old schoolers. We all know where the bread was buttered as far as baseball had gone, okay, and really in our hearts still does. But, of course, obviously we're not seeing it. Now, if that does happen where Kapler stays, I mean, look, there's no doubt Middleton has got to issue an extreme ultimatum for him because from the start, out of the gates in 2020, if we're already behind 7.5 games, just say 8 games or plus, and if we're, either in fourth or in last place, I mean, look, he's got to go. He's got to go. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I think they will be, Ken. I look at the Mets. The Mets are going to get significantly better. Cespedes is going to be back. They're going to have that good pitching starting out from the start of the season next year. They're going to be probably a better offensive club. We know where the Braves are right now, how far, ahead of the Phillies the Braves are. The Nationals seem to be light years ahead of the Phillies right now. I mean, and the Mets are going to be better. And then we're going to be stuck with Kapler cratering in May next year.
I'll tell you, it's a 50. Right now, it seems to be, a 50-50 right now. We're dealing with a 50-50 contest right now. And I do think, though, I really strongly think that John Middleton does not accept mediocrity. You would think for a guy who's been with the organization from the early 90s, from a chairman to present day owner and managing partner, you would think mediocrity is not an acceptable result. I just can't see it. I just cannot see it.
I can't see it.
And and I would strongly think that he does not accept it. And wasting gas, traveling 4 times to Vegas, in the off season, this past off season, to land a superstar, one of the superstars in the game. And then, of course, end result, you're spending over $500 million to compete for a second wild card spot.
They're not even competing for that.
That's not mediocrity written all over it. I don't know what is.
They're not even competing for the wild card spot. They didn't even compete for that this year. They cratered so bad that towards the end, the last couple of weeks of the season, they were out of it. We knew that they weren't competing for the second wild card spot. They were toast. They were done. They weren't even competing for that. That's what I mean. And next year, if things go the way they are, if history repeats itself, then Kapler's going to be cratering in May instead of June, because he keeps going backwards with his cratering and his dumpster firing, and then we're going to be looking at all the managers we could have talked to or could have made an offer to. I mean, and here's what gets me too, is that the Phillies last year, when they were filling out their coaching staff, they got rid of Rick Kranitz, their pitching coach, who the pitchers liked, who was actually able to communicate and get thoughts across to the pitchers, and who the pitchers followed, who the pitchers trusted. They got rid of Rick Kranitz, and they put in CY, and that blew up. that was like you saw there's an article, and we referenced it last week, article in the Athletic that people can go and check out by Megan Montemuro and in the Athletic that absolutely details how much of a dumpster fire CY Chris Young was as a pitching coach this year. So much so that pitchers decided some of the pitchers said, the heck with this. I'm doing what I'm going to do to make myself better. I don't need to listen to CY because the results aren't there. They went back to doing what made them successful. Zach Eflin is a case in point with that. And now not only do they not have Rick Kranitz, who the pitchers liked, he's in the playoffs with the Atlanta Braves, but now they don't have CY anymore. They just got rid of him. They are just so frustrating and aggravating and maddening. It is unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing too. Just that I want to relate to as well. Going back to last week, that we've seen cameras and pictures, and highlights in that of at the end of the game. And this is where I think, and I'll get to that point in a minute or so. But where Gay Kapler, okay, he eyes were swollen up in that, and the hugs,
yep.
and the shaking of the hands. But let's not forget also too. All right, now here's two things to that. We know that Middleton was also in that dugout. Okay. We also know that he was in the dugout. But also what really struck me too, and just to keep in the back of our heads as well too, just in case if Kapler does come back, let's not forget who didn't hug him or who didn't shake his hand. Aaron Nola.
That's right.
Just to keep that in our heads. Just sort of have that saved in a savings box in our heads, for the off season, just to give you some type of idea, okay? Because I'll tell you, if Kapler is retained, we may be seeing a little, we might be starting to see what could be the start of some type of, I don't know if you want to call it turmoil or what, but, I wouldn't be too doubtful, I wouldn't be too doubting that, we might start hearing a little rumbling from Aaron Nola as far as, who's at the helm and, look, Aaron Nola pitched his heart out. There's just wins, losses, or not. He pitched his heart out. And, and obviously we know what the end result was, obviously. So I just, but just to keep that in everybody's heads as far as that goes. But I do think though, with that said, see, that's the thing. With that said, and I know Middleton had to have seen Nola upset, non-responsive, no hugs, no shakes. He probably shook Middleton's hand, I'm sure, I would think. But with him not shaking Kapler's hand, I would think there's got to be something that in Middleton's head that's got to tell him something. It's got to tell him something. And again, I would think the easy thing would be, look, Phillies baseball is not mediocrity baseball. It's something special. We need to give the fans something special on that field to produce game in and game out, day in and day out, night in and night out. I mean, something has got to give sooner or later, because we cannot be seeing a 9th year, a 10th year, 11th year in a row go by. And, the more that we crater, And mind you, the more that we have Kapler, the more that we could very well be looking at a 100-loss season sooner or later. And, it's just not acceptable. It's just not acceptable.
No, it's not.
I think, Jay, we might be hearing of, I still think we might be hearing of a lot of changes in the upcoming days.
Well, I
really do.
I disagree. I think the only change that's going to be made, maybe, and I'm stressing, because here's the other thing you got to factor into this equation too. If you were Joe Girardi, if you were Joe Madden, any of the Mike Scioscia, any of these top guys, right? Already, it was announced today that at least 4 of the 9 coaches. Now we know they're going to hire a new pitching coach, but at least 4 other guys the Phillies thought so highly of that they are going to bring back. At least 4 of the 9, and there could be. Maybe a couple more guys that they're discussing internally. But at least 4 of the coaches are coming back. Now, if you're Joe Madden, if you're Mike Scioscia, one of these big-ticket coaches that are out there, right, that are rumored to be going around and are going to be talked to by several teams that have coaching vacancies, you already know that at least 4 guys are going to be on your coaching staff when you walk in the door. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. These guys you're going to have to work with. You don't get to pick your guys. I'm sorry, but that could be a deal breaker with these guys. Because I'm telling you, some of these guys, like a Joe Madden and a Girardi and so forth, are going to, especially those 2 guys, are going to walk in there. They're going to say, here's my price. Boom. Here's my demands. I want control. Probably want control of the 25-man roster, and I want to pick my coaches. Because there's going to be a team. It could be the California Angels. It could be the Chicago Cubs. One of these teams that want these big-ticket coaches are going to capitulate to that. Are going to say, yep, in order to hire you, we're going to give you the money, we're going to give you the power and the authority, and that's going to be it. And you know that apparently that's not going to be where the Phillies are at right now mentally. And so even if they fired Kapler next week, by bringing back these guys and saying that at least 4 guys, maybe more, are coming back, that could very well be a deal breaker with these guys. So no Girardi, no Madden, I wouldn't count on those guys. You're looking who knows who, but it's not going to be any big ticket guys, because those guys are going to go to a team that's going to give them the money and the authority. Right.
Well, keep at the back of your head as well, too, that if I remember it correctly, too, when 2008, I believe it was the championship year, we originally hired for coach Jimmy Williams, the legendary Jimmy Williams.
Yep.
Okay. And he didn't last long because I think he ended up I'd like to say he accepted another coaching position, might have been with the Astros, if my memory serves me correctly. But with that point though, I get that, yes, and I know I've read it too in many different outlets that we retain Fold, Thompson, the first base coach, just to name a few. But it could change. It could change. It could change.
They already said you're coming back. So those guys are in the fold. They're coming back. The only thing that can change is they fire Gabe Kapler and they bring in and it looks like they're going to retain McPhail and Clintack. So they're going to bring in another analytics guy. It's not going to be Madden. It's not going to be Girardi. Get those names out of your head, Phillies fans, because they're not going to give either one of those 2 guys. Clintack is not going to give them the authority over the roster or over the coaching staff because they already retained that. So those guys are out. You're not getting Madden. You're not getting Girardi. You're not getting a top coaching candidate. Done, out. It's going to be a first-time manager or an analytics guy like Clint or like Kapler. That's what you're going to end up with. You're not going to end up with a big-ticket guy. You're going to end up with an analytics guy because Apparently, Middleton is going to keep those guys in charge, so you're going to get another analytics guy. The department is going to be there, and that's going to be it. So keep Kapler, fire Kapler. You're going to get another analytics guy in there because apparently Middleton is keeping Clintack around, so he's going to trust Clintack to make the decision and the hire, so you're going to get another analytics guy. That's what's going to happen. The big-ticket guys aren't coming here. They're not.
No. I mean, and especially one name you forgot, too, is Mike Scioscia.
He's not coming here. He's not coming here. He can't choose his coaching staff. They're not going to pay him the money, and he's not going to give him the power. That's something Scioscia would want. I want the power to craft my roster. I want the power to craft my coaching staff. I want X amount of money. Well, guess what? And at least two of those things, they're not going. Middleton is not going to give the manager, and Clintack is not going to give the manager that authority. So you're not going to get a big ticket guy. You're not going to, at least until Middleton has the balls to go in there and sweep out Clintack and McPhail. Until that time comes, you're just going to get analytics guys. That's what you're going to get. And I feel sorry because it looks as though Kapler is going to come back next year, and if he doesn't, you're just going to get a guy like a Gabe Kapler, probably a first-year manager that Clintack can control and can dictate to. You're not going to get a veteran guy because any veteran guy is going to want exactly what I said: control over the coaching staff, control over the 25-man roster, and to be paid a certain amount of money. That's the bottom line.
Plain and simple.
Yep. So another long season ahead in 2020 for the Philadelphia Phillies. But in brighter news, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles playing the New York Jets this Sunday, Ken.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't even going to be a challenge?
I mean, it doesn't. I'm telling you, play the Eagles players this week. Play the Eagles defense if you got fantasy because the Jets starting quarterback is out for this week again, so he's not going to be playing this week. So the Jets are still going to be on their backup quarterback. So again, it could be a really big day for our Philadelphia Eagles. Sam Darnold ruled out, so I expect the Eagles to roll in this game. I was giving the Jets maybe a little bit of a chance if Darnold played, but with Darnold out and the Jets on their backup quarterback, I think the defense is just going to feast on them, and Eagles are probably going to roll.
I don't know. I mean, backup quarterbacks usually want to prove themselves so bad that you might be surprised. I mean,
not against Jim Ford's defense.
Well, we'll see.
I don't see it.
I don't see it myself. And look, I don't see it myself. And even though we don't have Jackson for Sunday as well, you know what? But you know what? That's not even a factor, neither here nor there. So I still see a really significant rollover myself against the Jets.
Yeah.
I mean, I so what? You know what? Le'Veon can have a 120-yard day with one touchdown. Who the heck cares? But because I still think I could easily see whether it's the running game or not, putting up at least the better part of 35 points, if not more. I just see it.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that. We may even see McCown in the fourth quarter. I wouldn't be surprised because the Jets' offense has been not very good this year, to put it mildly, and their defense hasn't been really good either. So this could be a comfortable day for Eagle fans to kind of enjoy the game, not really worry about it too much, and we'll move on to the following Sunday.
Exactly. Have a nice outing, tailgate outing. Get there early enough. You know, have your hot hamburgers, hot dogs, steaks, sausage, pepper, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
Go in to the seats, have a really good time, enjoy the the walking all over the jets.
Yeah.
And then safe trip home. I played it simple. I could see that.
Yep, and it could be a good day for some of these guys to maybe play a little bit and then rest. You know, the Eagles secondary, their cornerback situation is banged up right now, so maybe get some of these guys a little bit of playing time and then, you know, just to get some of the rust off, get them, you know, back into the game like a Darby, you know, or not a Darby, but maybe like a Sidney Jones or whatever. You know, get them kind of working their way back, working out some of their injuries, and, you know, just have a nice, easy game.
Right. Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's just, and yes, you know, I could see also, like you say, McAllen coming in, you know, as long as, you know, if have a rather, you know, more than a comfortable lead. You know, rest Wentz, you know, take the safe route, you know. So, I mean, it ought to be a really, really, really extremely nice Sunday.
I would agree. So, Ken, any final words for everybody out there?
Well, let's now that we got the Phillies off our chest.
Yeah. At least for 1 week.
What's that?
At least for 1 week.
Yeah.
Until they make me angry again and I have to go off on them next Friday.
Well, no, I mean, like, it ought to be a real interesting day, Sunday overall in the NFL. I just, you know, I will, and it would all be interesting as well too to see if Daniel Jones will have another, you know, good outing against the Vikings this weekend as well. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So,
But the one thing though with him, and like with any other player as well too, you know, and especially with him in his first time out, you don't want to get too cocky though. That's and there were points in that game last week that I noticed he's getting just he's starting to get a little too cocky with himself.
Yeah.
And when you start that, things will falter one by one, and that will not be good. And we know, and look, despite Gallman having a good day Sunday as well, he also, I believe he had also 2 fumbles in that game as well.
Yep.
So, you know, so he too has got to be careful, hold on to the ball, and just be very careful. Yeah. But it should be an interesting game as well.
I agree. So, Ken, can you let everybody know how they can find you on social media?
Sure thing. Facebook, it's Ken Moskowitz, in parentheses, Crossing Guard Ken. And Twitter and Instagram, Skywarn Spotter Ken.
All right, Ken. Have a great weekend. All our best to you and your family. And hopefully, I think realistically, we're talking about it, yet another Eagles win on next Friday when we do the live stream. And hopefully, the Eagles are also tied with those Dallas Cowboys when we talk again next Friday.
Yes, sir. Let's hope.
All right.
Let's hope.
I'm hoping, Ken. Go for it.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and also, too, rest in peace, Diane Carroll as well.
Yes.
Legend.
Absolutely. Absolute icon. Rest in peace, Diane Cannon. Absolutely. All right, Ken, have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next Friday.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. All right, and that was, of course, Ken Moskowitz. We always talk Philadelphia sports with him.
Absolutely.
And, Jeff, you wanted to mention something that is taking place this month and actually kind of affected me this week because one of my friends actually posted on her Facebook page that unfortunately she is now battling breast cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Jay. Well, just to let everyone know out there, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so definitely get yourself checked out. It's never too early. I'm pretty sure everyone has been affected by cancer in general. Someone in your family, friends, neighbors. There's always somebody. So, just be aware, help those out, and just, get yourself checked.
Absolutely, get yourself checked.
Yeah. And not just women either. I'm also talking about men. Get yourself checked. There's other kind of cancers out there.
Exactly.
So, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
You want to make sure that you catch it in time so it can be dealt with, and you can beat cancer down and smacketh down.
There you go. Yep.
On cancer.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So wanted to throw that out there.
Absolutely. Great job, Jeff. And speaking of Jeff, my brother Jeff.
Oh, not me. Okay.
Well,
Take a nap now.
Well, no, not really, because you are instrumental in this live stream.
Well, true.
Yeah, you really are. And but speaking of Jeff, my brother Jeff does a weekly segment here on the Sports Skillet live stream. It is called This Week in Sports History, where we take a look back of all the amazing events that took place this coming week in sports history. So what we want to do is take a look back and have my brother describe what happened this week in sports history. If we can get it playing. There we go.
Welcome to This Week in Sports History, sponsored by Wildflowers on the Pennington Circle. I am Jeff Sellner. Let's dive right into the history books. On October 7th in 1984, Chicago Bears running back Walter Payton became the NFL's all-time rushing leader, breaking the record held by Cleveland's Jim Brown, set in 1965. With 53,752 screaming fans on hand at Soldier Field, Payton carried the ball 154 yards and finished the game with a new career rushing record, 12,400 yards, 88 more than Brown. The festivities were brief as he put the Bears' momentum as a team ahead of his personal achievements. Payton accepted a few hugs and handshakes and turned the record-setting football over to the Pro Football Hall of Fame and took a call from President Ronald Reagan after the game. The Bears won the game 20-7. The record would stand until 2002 when Dallas running back Emmitt Smith surpassed Payton's record of 16,726 yards. Emmitt still holds the record today with 18,355 yards rushing. On October 8th in 1956, in Game 5 of the 1956 World Series, Don Larson of the New York Yankees threw a perfect game against the Brooklyn Dodgers. Larson's perfect game remains the only perfect game in the history of the World Series. NBC televised the game with announcers Mel Allen and Vin Scully. The Yankees won the game 2-0. Roy Halladay remains the only other pitcher to throw a no-hitter in postseason play. The Yankees will go on to win the 1956 World Series 4-3 over the Brooklyn Dodgers. On October 9th in 1915, in Game 2 of the World Series between the Boston Red Sox and the Philadelphia Phillies, President Woodrow Wilson became the first U.S. president to attend a World Series game. The Red Sox won the game 2-1 at the Baker Bowl in Philadelphia. The Red Sox won the World Series 4-1. On October 10th in 1951, the New York Yankees defeated the New York Giants 4-3 in Game 6 of the World Series. This was also Joe DiMaggio's final game. Joe went 1 for 2 with a double and 2 walks to end his career in style as a World Series champion. Joe batted .325 with 361 career home runs and 1,537 RBIs in 13 seasons as a pro. DiMaggio served in the military from 1943 to 1945, a 9-time World Series champion, 3-time MVP. He was inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in 1955. On October 11th in 1925, the New York Giants played their first NFL game as a franchise owned by Tim Mara. The Giants played at the Polo Grounds in New York, but played this first game at the Cyclodrome. The Giants would lose this game 14-0 to the Providence Steamroller. The Giants would finish the 1925 season 8-4 in 4th place. 8,000 fans attended the game at the Cyclodrome. On October 12th in 1989, in the largest player trade in NFL history, the Dallas Cowboys traded running back Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings. The trade eventually involved 18 players and draft picks. At the time, the Cowboys were one of the worst teams in the league, and the Vikings believed Walker was the missing piece they needed to make a Super Bowl run. The Cowboys used the draft picks acquired in the trade to help them win 3 Super Bowls in the 1990s. Meanwhile, the Vikings never did make a Super Bowl with Herschel Walker. In all, Minnesota surrendered 8 draft picks to Dallas to acquire Herschel Walker. On October 13th in 1982, Jim Thorpe had his Olympic medals reinstated by the International Olympic Committee. At the 1912 Olympics, Thorpe won gold in a pentathlon and decathlon. A year later, word spread that Thorpe had played semi-pro baseball in North Carolina and he lost his amateur status and was forced to return his medals. Nearly 30 years after his death, the International Olympic Committee restored the medals by unanimous vote. Thank you for listening to This Week in Sports History, sponsored by Wildflowers Restaurant on the Pennington Circle. I am Jeff Sellner.
You're listening to the Sports Skillet Radio Show, cooking up all the hot takes. Jump in and join us at 609-919-9200. Download our app at sportsskilletradio.com. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube by searching for Sports Skillet. And remember to show us some love. Like, follow, and share.
And we are back here on the Sports Skillet Radio, a live stream every Friday afternoon from CSB in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, we want to encourage you to head over to our social media sites. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. We have polls, we engage you in conversation, and also head over to our website, sportsskilletradio.com, where you can hear us live every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. when we do our show from Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey. And you can also download our app, and you can also check out some awesome articles by our next contributor, Mike Nebbia. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Jay. Happy Friday to you guys.
Happy Friday to you, Mike. We love having you in the studio, but if you have to call in, we love having you call in as well if you can't make it into the studio. But we want to discuss some big topics with you. Biggest topic is people heard us talking about the Phillies side of things in our last segment, but this segment we got to talk about the Mets side of things. They just fired, as you predicted, their manager, Mickey Callaway. They relieved him of his duties yesterday, so now the Mets are in the managerial hunt. What are your thoughts about the Mets releasing Mickey Callaway?
Saw it coming a mile away. I predicted that if the Mets did not make the playoffs, Mickey Callaway was out of here.
I love it. Yep. Go on.
So here's what I'm thinking for the Mets' new benchman, the Mets' new head man.
Okay.
I'm thinking that it's either going to be Joe Madden, Joe Girardi, or possibly Freddie Gonzalez.
Interesting choices. Now, do you think the Mets will concede what it would take to get one of the top two guys, like a Girardi or a Madden? Do you think Brody Van Wagenen will give them some of his powers? Like to bring in a Madden or Girardi, the GM is going to have to take a step back in a certain sense. Like he won't have a first-year manager, so he's not going to be able to dictate to a Madden or a Girardi about how he's supposed to play the 25 guys. He may have to give up power. They may want control of the 25-man roster. They may want control of the coaching staff, be able to bring in their guys to make them as successful as they can possibly be. And they're going to want top dollar. And we know the Mets have a history of not paying guys top dollar. So do you think the Mets will give to one of those two guys like a Madden or a Girardi what they would want?
Brody is smarter than we're led to believe. I think he may be even smarter than Mr. Will Ponzi, as I like to call him. So Brody Van Wagenen is the kind of guy that would make concessions to a Madden, a Socha, Gonzalez, even a Girardi, who has a New York pedigree. He managed the Yankees to a World Series. He knows how to put together a winning roster. I think that if it came down to it, he would make the concessions to get Girardi, to get Madden, to get Socha, Gonzalez.
Hey, that would boost the Mets. I'm telling you. I mean, I want the Phillies to get rid of Kapler in the worst way possible. I like him as a person. He's a very intelligent guy, but I want the Phillies to get rid of him because I'm tired of seeing him as a manager. The Mets are now at least able to talk to these guys, where the Phillies can't really do that. And I think that'll put the Mets. The Mets already finished ahead of the Phillies this year. I mean, it's going to make the Mets that much more ahead of the Phillies. Phillies are looking like a fourth place team already. You got to at least be excited as a Mets fan, as someone who follows the Mets and reports on the Mets and that type of thing. You got to be excited about who this next manager will be.
Yeah, I am excited for 2020 already. Mets have a good young core with Alonso, McNeil, Nimmo, Conforto. Good pitching with hopefully Wheeler coming back, with Syndergaard, with DeGrom, Matz.
Yeah.
And who knows what's coming in free agency? Who knows what will be coming in the June draft? We're talking about some big names in free agency with Rendon, which I hope they get, with Matz and Wheeler hopefully sticking around, and hopefully we're looking at second place in the division, hopefully a wild card, if the Brewers don't get in the way again.
Yeah, maybe.
The Brewers decided not to lose in September, even after the Yelich injury.
Yep. I mean, the Mets could definitely be. I could definitely see the Mets battling for the division or maybe the wild card because I think they'll have the pitching. They get Cespedes back. That should be a.
If he doesn't ride his horse into a ditch in his ranch again.
Exactly. You got to watch out for those type of things if you're Cespedes and you're the Mets. But all things are, I believe, looking positive for the Mets getting him back into their lineup. That'll be a boon to their offense. So the Mets, to me, are going to be looking pretty good if they go out and they spend the money and they give one of these guys, the power and authority that they would want. I mean, I would definitely rank. They're already ahead of the Phillies, and I keep them there. It's just a question of can they compete with the Nationals?
Can they compete for a wild card? Can they compete for a division? Can they get a top-tier manager? I want to see a first-year manager again.
I don't think they go that way. I think they go with a manager that has experience already. I definitely think they go that way. It's just a question of can they land one of these top guys by giving them the power, the authority, and the money. That's my only question.
I think they've learned. I think they may have learned their lesson after Callaway.
I think so.
I'm sorry for jumping in on you, Jay.
Oh, no problem. No, I think so too. The other thing is Giants are playing on Sunday this week. Got a big matchup. What do you think about the Giants this Sunday, Mike?
tough matchup against the Vikings. Vikings defense has been a little iffy to this point in the season. They're 2-2. Giants are 2-2. And I don't think the Vikings have any idea on how Daniel Jones operates. Advantage to Jones in this situation. Advantage to the Giants in this situation. 27-10, Giants win it over the Vikings.
I can see that. I think Daniel Jones has proven to be a very good quarterback, is proven to be a spark plug for the offense, and you guys get Golden Tate back this week.
As I've been saying, Golden Tate's as sure-handed as a receiver as we got in free agency. He's no Odell Beckham, but he doesn't need to be an Odell Beckham. He's got magnets for hand shape. Magnets!
I'm telling you, you're exactly right. The Eagles did not know how to use him last year when they acquired him at the trading deadline. For whatever reason, they couldn't shoehorn him into the offense. And this was a guy that made catches all over the place for the Vikings before and the Lions.
Seattle.
For Seattle. Yep. And, he made catches all over the place, and the Philadelphia Eagles couldn't figure out how to use him properly. I think the Giants are. I think he's going to be a very good replacement for Odell Beckham. In fact, I picked him up in my fantasy league, so I think he's going to do really well for the Giants. He's coming in. He's got fresh legs. Obviously.
Fresh quarterback.
Yep. A quarterback that can maneuver around in the pocket to get, to buy some time to allow him to get open. And I think it's going to be a really good quarterback wide receiver combination between the two. And as long as Sherman, devises a good offensive game plan, I think Golden Tate is going to work out really well for the Giants. And the Giants also got good news on the Saquon Barkley front, too.
Oh, yeah, finally some good news. Saquon Barkley, the X-ray came up negative. Saquon Barkley should be back earlier than we hoped. So,
yeah, I thought I believe he was practicing a little bit this week.
Limited participation in practice, but any participation is better than no participation, as I like to say.
Exactly. And the
more participation we get from Saquon Barkley, the better off we'll be going forward. And just be careful about Week 10 in your fantasy. You get Kelly, and she's a tough customer.
Oh, absolutely. But, just looking at this week, I think the Giants are going to win the game. I predicted that they were going to win over the Vikings. I know the Vikings are going to be a pretty good test for the Giants, but, again, I think with the spark and the athleticism that Daniel Jones is showing and getting Golden Tate back into the lineup, I think, and just having Golden Tate, on the sidelines and seeing him practicing again, just good vibes around the Giants. Very good vibes.
Oh, absolutely. Golden Tate is a good locker room presence, much better than Beckham and his diva-like attitude. Could not stand that for the life of me.
Now, we posted your latest article on our website.
Round 2 of the Chase preview.
Yes, and can you talk about that for a little bit?
Of course. Round 2 is what I like to call the big wild card of the Chase because of this middle race of the round. That's Talladega. That's a big 2.6-mile restrictor plate oval, and whatever can go wrong there usually does. You see cars wrecking. You see drivers losing the draft. It's going to be a big wild card. That's coming up next Sunday. This Sunday, we got a track in Dover, Delaware. We got the Monster Mile, and that track is notorious for taking Chase dreams, chewing them up, and spitting them out. It is trouble. It is big trouble, big concrete oval. Chase Elliott is the defending winner of this race. And I think he defends again. So he's got to watch out for Kyle Busch, though. He's the one that narrowly edged out Chase in 2017. Wouldn't have happened had it not been for one Ryan Newman getting in Chase's way. So look for Chase Elliott to be dominant. Look for Kyle Busch to give him a run. But I pick Elliott to win Sunday's Gander RV 400. That goes down 1 p.m. Eastern over on NBCSN.
Gotcha. And you predicting for this week, are you predicting major crashes in this one or no?
Yeah, I'm predicting some major crashes in this one. Like I said, Dover is a very tough mile-long racetrack. Pit road there is very narrow, and I'm expecting to see some pit penalties as well. Some major pit penalties that could cost some drivers their shot at the championship, their shot at moving along in the chase.
Gotcha.
Remember, we're down to 12 drivers. Only 8 will advance to round 3, which has another big wild card to start off in Martinsville.
Gotcha. Interesting stuff going on there in the world of NASCAR and racing there. Any further predictions for this week's NFL games, Mike?
Okay. Well, let me just pull up the NFL schedule for this week because
I can throw some games at you if you want me to.
Here we go. Jaguars, Panthers. I call it Battle of the Cats. I think the Jaguars can pull this one out. Jets, Eagles. Eagles are going to walk all over the Jets. Bucks and the Saints. That's Breeze. Breeze and the Saints all over the Buccaneers. Falcons, Texans. I got the Falcons in that one. Steelers beating the Ravens. Pats beating the Redskins. Oh, we got Bears, Raiders. I believe that's the London game this week.
Yes.
The Bears! Broncos, Chargers. Give that one to the Chargers. Packers, Cowboys. No, I cannot stand the Cowboys, so I'm going the Pack. Colts, Chiefs. Huh. Chiefs, of course. Patrick Mahomes. He's a beast. And the Monday night game, Browns, 49ers. Sorry to your brother Jeff, I'm going Browns.
There you go. Great job, Mike. Loved having you on the show. Unfortunately, we're ending the show a little bit early today, around 2 o'clock. But we'll talk to you again next Friday on the live stream. And Mike, great job. And again, we want to encourage everybody to check out your article on sportsskilletradio.com, all about NASCAR. So, Mike, we will talk to you again next Friday afternoon.
Talk to you then.
All right, Mike, have a great weekend.
You too. Have a great week.
And, of course, that was Mike Nebbia, expert in all things New York and NASCAR and the racing series that's currently going on. Great information. Again, check out his work on sportsskilletradio.com.
I'm still waiting for NASCAR to come out with the announcement they're going to make a right turn eventually.
No, it's only going to be left turns. We only want left turns in NASCAR.
I thought it was crashes you only wanted. It's like,
well, that too.
You
You know, people look forward to the crashes, you know, and I think that's what a lot of people watch NASCAR for. But it's also the skill that the drivers have to exhibit to avoid the crashes
That
as
is
well.
true. I mean,
and
I'm
knowing
not
when to
downplaying
pit and when not to pit. There's a lot of mental stuff that I don't think people realize about NASCAR.
Well, I mean, you're going at 200 miles an hour going around with a whole... How many other cars are on the field?
I mean...
on the track. So, yeah, you got to be... It's like driving in Philly almost, you know? It's just got to...
Oh, yeah. Or New York.
Oh, don't even get me started on that one. I'd say California, but there's no driving out there. They just slowly crawl. People out there understand what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes.
They learned how to drive sideways out there. No joke. I've seen it happen.
So I did, you know, a lot of topics that we wanted to dive into. We're not going to get a chance to because we are ending the live stream around 2 o'clock. But wanted to bring up real quick the start of the Wednesday Night Wars, the big thing in pro wrestling. I'm sure you've seen the advertisements on Fox. SmackDown will be live on Fox 7:30 tonight. The debut edition of SmackDown on Fox. We had the Wednesday Night Wars starting this week between NXT and AEW. The premiere of Monday Night Raw this week. And then next week, we're going to have the draft coming up on Raw and SmackDown. So we're actually going to see where some of these superstars are going to end up. Will they be on Fox or will they be on USA?
Oh, I don't know. If they're smart, they'd get on Fox because it's Fox.
Well, I know, and I'm sure Fox wants some of these guys. Fox wants Bray Wyatt, a.k.a. The Fiend. Fox wants all these top guys, Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. But how many of them will the WWE give up to Fox? Because Raw has been their baby. Raw is the longest running live show, on TV. So how many of them will the WWE agree to let go to Fox? Remains to be seen. But great debut for both shows, I think, this week. NXT and AEW. As people may have seen out there, AEW did win the ratings war, but I think that was more for a curiosity factor.
Exactly. I mean, it's the premier issue. Wow, my mouth just doesn't want to work today, does it?
Edition
today. So yeah. So everyone's going to look in. Like, what is this? What is it about? What's different? So truthfully, next week is when we're going to determine whether or not they hang on to those viewers, whether or not they keep pushing forward. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of saying, is that I wasn't concerned so much about this week because it's just like a curiosity factor. The setup, seeing some of these guys again, like Chris Jericho, Dean Ambrose, who's now, has a different name in AEW, Moxley, and some of the other guys that are on there. Jack Swagger got a big role in AEW. He was in he interfered in the main event. He's going to be a bad guy now.
Oh boy.
Aligning himself with Chris Jericho.
So Jericho is the bad guy in this?
Oh yeah, he is a heel.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He is a heel going up against both Rhodes brothers. Cody and Dustin, going up against the big heels. So, yeah, they position himself. He is the world champion as well, so in AEW. So, he already has a big role. They had, some sneak attacks going on and stuff. I thought it was a really well-done edition of AEW, but as you said, we'll see going forward as to how many. I also liked between both shows, I liked the limited commercial breaks. They kept you going for close to like 20 minutes. I mean, they had the commercials going on like on the side and stuff, that you see from time to time, but they kept the live action going. So, you couldn't really turn away because you felt that you'd miss something.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. NXT, I thought, did really well. Also, they had a great show. Brought back some of the guys.
Now I'm going to throw this out there. Now,
sure.
Which one did you actually watch, and which one did you DVR?
I actually was able to DVR both.
Oh, okay.
Because I set the DVR to record both because I wanted to go back and rewatch both of them, and I was actually kind of flipping from one to the other.
Okay.
And what I did find out is that at least for this week, they replayed AEW as soon as it was over.
Oh, wow, okay.
So if you missed anything with AEW, and AEW brought back an iconic announcing pair. They have Tony Schiavone from the TNT days, team with Jim Ross, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, at first I thought you were going to say Mean Gene. I'm like, wow, hologram? Nice. Because that would be cool.
Yep, but no, they had those two guys paired up, which was an interesting announcing pair. Like I said, they brought back some guys. Finn Balor is now part of NXT, which I think will use him to his utmost capabilities, because I thought even when he was on Raw or SmackDown, he was kind of near the middle of the pack. They weren't really using him fully. And I think Triple H will get the most out of Finn Balor. Cool. He also challenged the NXT champion. A lot of guys came back. So I really liked where NXT was going Wednesday night. And I'm really looking forward to The Rock being on SmackDown tonight. Just the WWE unleashing everybody. I think Hulk Hogan's going to be there. The Rock.
He's everywhere. What he needs money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But Fox and WWE are definitely going all in tonight. So I would say DVR SmackDown tonight because there's probably going to be some iconic moments. Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. One of them is going to be fired at the end of the night. They're having a ladder match. Well, fired. Yeah. Well, off TV.
Fired in the sense of we'll bring him back next week as a surprise.
Yeah. Well, I think Shane's going away for a little bit, staying off camera for a little while.
He probably needs a vacation. We all do.
Well, yes. So I think Kevin Owens is going to win tonight. We got Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston. I think Kingston's going to win that match because I can't see the WWE putting the belt on Brock and then Brock disappearing for weeks or months at a time like he's known for. So I think there may be somebody that comes out and maybe attacks Brock, maybe causing a disqualification, and then Brock and this person begin a feud of sorts. Maybe Braun Strowman, maybe somebody unexpected that nobody's really talking about.
That's usually what they do. They throw that curveball at you,
Yep. And so that's where I think that's going tonight. But I think that's going to be really amazing. Looking forward to it. And again, special start time. That's going to be 7:30 tonight. Yeah. So,
I mean, this is the one thing I love is that they're bringing in the iconic wrestlers too, bringing them back and everything. Do you think they're doing that because of AEW? It's like, maybe we should bring back these old guys because,
Well, I think to get some eyeballs on it, because they know people will tune in just to see some of these guys, but they're not going to be a major force going forward. I mean, they're having Team Hogan versus Team Flair at Crown Jewel, coming up. But those guys aren't wrestling. And by the way, just for everybody out there, I hated that promo this week that the two of them did. Two guys who are supposed to be able to do really good promos to set up matches. I thought absolutely did a horrible one on Monday Night Raw with The Miz. I mean, you're trying to set up a match. You're trying to get people to actually invest their time to watch Team Flair versus Team Hogan. So you want the two guys to at least pretend to argue, and not be all lovey-dovey like they were in the ring. It was an absolutely horrible promo to kick off this match. I thought it was horribly done. I mean, the guys that are going to be part of their team, I thought did better than they did at setting up the match. Wow. I mean, just absolutely horribly done by Hogan and Flair. It could have been worded and done a whole lot better. I just thought the two guys that are known for doing great promos, absolutely, I gave them a 0 on this one.
Dropped the ball.
Not only dropped it, they put it in the belly of the defense and allowed the defense to score a touchdown. And then said, here's a 2-point conversion afterward. That's how horrible that promo was by these two guys setting up the match. I just thought it was horribly done. Wow. But I know it is a little bit after 2 o'clock, so a couple of minutes after. I know you have to run, Jeff. You have some things you got to take care of this week. So we're going to be ending the live stream a little bit early this week. But again, any comments that we can answer real quick on our YouTube channel?
Nothing really, but definitely want to give a shout out to everyone that actually tuned in to watch us.
Absolutely, we do this every week too. Give everybody shout outs. Go for it, Jeff.
So we got Busty Bright. She's back again, giving us a follow. So
go, Busty!
4 weeks now, she's been watching us, so that's great. We also Mike's watching, obviously, but he just loves the show. So
absolutely,
good support system, Mike. Yeah. Let's see, who else do we have on here? We have the Shippert Eye Center out in California.
Nice, guys. Tune in next week. We're going to have more contact, more things to talk about. I'm sorry we didn't get into the Patriots kicker situation, but we may do that on our 9:20 show on Sunday morning. So be ready for that.
Yep. And then we have Creative Silva. Haven't seen them in the stream before, so I think they're brand new. So welcome, guys. Everyone new.
Absolutely.
So.
And if you want topics, throw them out there. Give us questions. Give us topics, because we love discussing them with you guys. There may be a topic that you want to discuss with us. That's why we are the Sports Skillet, because we talk about everything and anything. We are here for you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
drop your comments in the comment section.
Yep.
And I'll check it out. Or call in if you want.
Absolutely. 856-330-4749 is the phone number for our live stream. You can also call us when we go live on our show on Fox Sports Radio at 920 The Jersey. Again, all you have to do, go to our website, download the app, and wherever you happen to be Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, just click on the app, and we're ready, and we're right there for you guys.
There you go. And, of course, this is going to be in California, so they're about 3 hours behind.
That is correct.
But 9, I believe, if I'm doing my math
8
right.
o'clock.
8 o'clock. I'm using Common Core, so it never makes sense. So
exactly.
No
don't get me started on that Common Core math stuff. We survived. We didn't need to update the math situation. It was fine the way things were.
Yeah, good luck with trigonometry if you try to use Common Core. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
Man.
Although you may need to use Common Core to find out how much money Antonio Brown is going to be fined or has lost over the past year from his antics. So you may need to use some of that Common Core math to find out that huge amount.
Maybe he should use some common sense instead and keep his mouth shut.
And stay off of social media.
That too.
And what came out this week, just if you're keeping up,
no.
He is being sued for $15,000 for property damage at a South Florida condo. So, again, more. And then he's trying to get the players' union to back him as he tries to recover some of the money from, I believe it's the Raiders or the New England Patriots.
Probably both.
Yes.
Probably going after him. It's in the contract.
But again, they have a contractual situation, and I'm sure they're going to work things out that way. But I don't see Antonio Brown getting any money or very little money.
Unless they have something in that contract that states if you screw up, you ain't getting anything.
Yep.
But otherwise.
And the other mathematical situation we'll be paying attention to, apparently LeVar Ball embezzled millions from the Big Baller brand, according to a lawsuit filed by the co-founder of the Big Baller brand. So they're haggling out that situation. Again, LeVar finds themselves in a little bit of hot water there.
A little.
Yeah. So that's another thing where you can use Common Core math to figure out what's going to go on and maybe how much money LeVar Ball is going to be paying out.
Hopefully his defense doesn't use Common Core. He might be in trouble.
That is true. But again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in this week to our Sports Skillet live stream. Again, we will be live on Fox Sports Radio 920 The Jersey Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Until then, remember to pay attention to our social media channels. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube, subscribe so you don't miss a single edition of our live stream. But if you do, it will be up on our website, sportsskilletradio.com.
I think the button is over here, I believe. If I'm pointing correctly, it should be somewhere in this vicinity. Just hit subscribe. Even this like button right there, that actually gives you
exactly. That helps us out. And the more likes, and again, throw topics at us, throw comments at us. We'll discuss anything with you. That's why we are the Sports Skillet Radio Show. NASCAR, pro wrestling, baseball, football, basketball, hockey starting up tonight. By the way, I have to say, go Flyers. I'm not predicting a whole lot out of them this season. Maybe a low round 8th seed playoff berth if they're lucky, but just want to see some progression out of the Flyers this year. But for the Sixers, I'm predicting big things for the Sixers this year in the Eastern Conference. But until next week, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. We love you. And again, Sunday morning at 11 a.m., we will be on Fox Sports Radio 920 the jersey.
Driving around in your car.
Join Sports Skillet.
Just what it feels like.
So how do you like it?
So what is it? I'm curious.
You like it like this?
My God, do we love football.
Or like this?
I love the sport of baseball.
And what about this?
You can have a sports show without all the vicious talk.
Simple human decency.
Whatever it is that you like,
Yeah, I like chaos.
we've got it covered.
Right?
It's sports the way you like it.
My friends, you may not know this. It's got everything you want.
Local and national sports talk that's fresh, in season, and FDA approved. Taste some Sports Skillet.
Tastes good.